You feel it, the silent pulse beneath your ribs that refuses to sync with the herd's drumbeat. While the world chases spotlights, you navigate by unseen currents. Sigma isn't a label, it's a reckoning. You don't howl with the pack, you study the forest while others sleep. Your strength isn't in defiance, but in the quiet calculus of a mind that trades cages for horizons. Society names you ghost, outlier, enigma. Let them. While alphas roar and betas flock, you move like winter, inevitable, untamed, reshaping landscapes by merely passing through. The question isn't why you walk alone, it's why anyone thinks you'd want company. We'll show you 10 weird, freaky traits that make you inevitable. I said alone, not lonely. This is why Sigmas are kings. Let's begin. Trait number 1, the Selective Circle. You, the selective one, gravitate not toward that boisterous center, but to the quieter fringes, where Zetas strategize late-night ventures, Omegas share raw stories of struggle, and even Deltas sketch blueprints for change. You prefer Zetas, Omegas, or even Deltas, because their depth resonates with your own. It's not that you can't engage with alphas or betas, it's that you find them annoying, their relentless small talk, like static cluttering your clear channel. Yale's study on social thermodynamics found that groups with mixed personality types, like Zeta, Omega, or even Delta, collaborate 50% more effectively than alpha-dominated packs. You don't hate alphas, you pity them. Their power is a gilded cage. They need followers, like addicts need needles. Imagine standing in a group, their laughter looping in predictable patterns, their small talks, daily stories of their crushes. You step away, not out of shyness, but because every stock phrase feels like a drain on your focus. In your selective circle, a single question about meaning or method holds far more weight than 10 rounds of, "How's it going?" Others mistake your departure for social anxiety, yet you leave because you refuse to trade your precious energy for empty banter. Marcus Aurelius taught that respect the lives of others, but don't let their habits waste your time. You live this every day, choosing conversations that stir your mind, not ones that numb it. By sidestepping the alpha's show, you preserve your capacity for real exchange, where ideas are tested, vulnerabilities shared, and true understanding forged. Trait number 2, the gardener. You, the merit gardener, cultivate respect, not by birthright, but by the weight of one's experience and the grain of their character. While alphas flaunt status and betas defer to tenure, you look for the deep roots, years of toil, scars earned in the field, wisdom grown through hardship. You don't respect someone simply for reaching a certain age. You honor the hands that have coaxed growth from barren soil. In the quiet of observation, you learn that living gracefully, meeting life's storms with composure, is itself an accomplishment worthy of reverence. You don't cherish money as a trophy, but you revere the work that produces value. And Ryan's self-determination theory shows that intrinsic motivation, driven by mastery and autonomy, yields deeper satisfaction than any paycheck. You see effort as the true currency of character, yet you remember every hand that helped. You plant your own seeds. You don't easily forget a mentor's guidance or a peer's sacrifice the way Zetas sometimes do, nor do you measure worth by the size of one's ledger, as alphas often do. This mirrors equity theory's principle. Relationships thrive when inputs and outcomes remain balanced, when contributions are neither ignored nor taken for granted. Imagine your life as a garden. Each relationship a plant that flourishes under tended care. You prune away shallow interactions, water those who share your values, and let no contribution go unnoticed. In doing so, you weave reciprocity into every bond, echoing the social exchange norm that obliges us to repay kindness with gratitude and loyalty. As you tend your own garden, ask yourself, who in your life has earned more respect than their years suggest? Where might you valued wealth over work, or overlooked a guiding hand? Embrace the role of merit gardener, and let every act of earnest labor, and every seed of wisdom sown, find its rightful place under your watchful stewardship. Before going further, I must appreciate for what you guys do for this channel. Thanks. Trait number 3, your silent oracle. Have you ever known something would go wrong? Felt it in your bones before anyone else noticed the cracks? This is your curse and gift. While others stroll through life, you dissect it. Every flicker of doubt in a friend's laugh, every unspoken tension in a room, every hollow promise wrapped in corporate jargon. You catch these like a hunter senses shifts in the wind. Think of the last time you warned someone. They dismissed you. Then it happened, exactly as you said. You weren't lucky, you were attuned. A 2014 Cornell study called this intuitive expertise, the brain's ability to subconsciously map patterns. Your mind does this relentlessly. You don't just see a colleague's rushed email. You see the insecurity veiled in their excessive exclamation points. You don't just hear a politician's speech. You hear the scripted pauses, hiding half-truths. Stoics teach amor fati, love of fate. You prepare for it. When others cling to plans, you've already calculated 3 backups. Not out of fear, but clarity. Like a sailor reading waves, you navigate life's chaos by its invisible currents. You don't panic when storms hit. You expected them. Here's the secret. You see roots, not leaves. Most people fixate on what's visible. The outburst, the betrayal, the market crash. You trace these back to their origins. The quiet resentment that festered for months. The greed masked as ambition. The reckless risk buried in spreadsheets. You're the friend who spots the toxic relationship therein weeks before they admit it. The employee who senses layoffs before the CEO's vague memo. But this isolates you. People call you paranoid or cold when you voice what you see. So you learn to stay silent, speaking only when asked. Yet when your predictions unfold, they marvel. How did you know? They ask. You don't answer. How could you explain that your mind never stops weaving threads they refuse to see? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Your thoughts make maps. While others wander, you chart terrain. You spot the fault lines in relationships, the tremors in systems, the whispers of collapse in booming empires. You aren't mystical, you're just awake. While society sleeps in delusions of stability, you walk with eyes wide open. This isn't arrogance, it's survival. And in a world addicted to denial, your vision is revolution. Trust it, sharpen it. The storms you foresee, they're coming, but you'll be ready. Not because you fear chaos, but because you understand. And in that understanding, you find power no one can take. Trait number 4, the Restless Engine. Have you ever felt your thoughts were a wildfire? Untamed, relentless, devouring every quiet moment. A walk in the park becomes a dissection of cloud patterns. A grocery line morphs into an analysis of consumer psychology. And a song on the radio unravels into a debate about cultural decay. Scientists call this hyperbrain theory. 2017, in Yale, they found that relentless thinkers have neural pathways that link seemingly unrelated concepts, sparking creativity. You don't choose to dissect everything. It's automatic. Like an engine that won't idle, your mind hums even when parked. Stoics preach focus on the present. Your present is a storm of what is and what could be. You don't just see a crumbling bridge, you see the rusted bolts, the engineer's oversight, the political cuts to infrastructure budgets. At work, you solve a problem during a bathroom break. In traffic, you untangle a childhood memory while plotting a career shift. Your mind doesn't compartmentalize, it integrates. Society calls this distraction. They're wrong. You're multidimensional thinking, a trait found in ancient philosophers and modern innovators. Marcus Aurelius journaled to manage his racing thoughts. Da Vinci filled notebooks with ideas. Like them, you don't just exist, you interrogate. Yet this gift fractures your peace. Stoicism teaches acceptance of nature, and your nature is relentless curiosity. Here's what others miss. Your chaos has rhythm. Those midnight epiphanies, the shower revelations, the sudden solutions mid-conversation, they're not random. They're your subconscious connecting dots, your conscious mind planted earlier. A 2021 Stanford study showed that incubated ideas often solve problems better than forced focus. You've lived this truth. You're a forge. Your sparks might scorch, but they also create. While others cling to simplicity, you dance in complexity. The world needs minds like yours, ones that refuse to see boundaries between art and science, passion and logic, chaos and order. So, let them call you intense. While they sleepwalk, you're dissecting the clockwork of the world. Burn bright. Just remember, even fire needs oxygen. Sometimes, let the flames rest. Trust that embers glow longer. The fifth trait, the mirror in the shadows. Have you ever looked at someone and seen their unspoken wounds? The ones they've buried, even from themselves. You don't just listen to words. You hear the silence between them. A friend claims they are fine, but you taste the bitterness in their laugh. A lover swears loyalty, but you feel the distance in their touch. While others skate on surfaces, you dive into depths they fear to acknowledge. This isn't just empathy, it's X-ray vision. Psychologists call it cognitive empathy, the ability to intellectually grasp another's inner world without drowning in their emotions. A 2018 Cambridge study found that individuals with high cognitive empathy often score low on emotional empathy. You don't feel their pain, you decode it. Like a linguist studying a foreign text, you parse micro-expressions, tonal shifts, and the weight of unsaid words. You possess an uncanny ease in reading hidden motives. While others ask questions, you watch the flicker of an eyelid or the slackening of a jaw and know more than words could say. This talent isn't supernatural. It's your mind's natural empathy turned analytic. Just as mirror neurons light up in our brains when we observe another's action, a finding first described by Rizzolatti and colleagues in 1992. You translate these subtle signals into clear insight. Stoicism teaches detachment, but you've mastered detached insight. Epictetus wrote, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them." When a coworker rages over a missed promotion, you see their fear of inadequacy. When a parent nitpicks your life choices, you spot their grief over lost youth. You don't absorb their chaos, you dissect it. Strategists like Sun Tzu in The Art of War preached knowing the enemy. You know everyone, not to manipulate, but to navigate. You're the friend who detects the affair they haven't confessed, the employee who senses the boss's favoritism before meetings, the stranger who knows which homeless veteran will use cash for food, not addiction. Your mind collects data like a forensic accountant, receipts of behavior, invoices of motive, balance sheets of truth. Yet this clarity isolates you. People wear masks, you see the faces beneath. They call you judgmental when you're merely observant. So you ration your insights, speaking truths only when they'll be heard. Not everyone wants their reflection. Here's the paradox. You see others clearly because you refuse to lie to yourself, while they project fantasies. Your stoic resolve to face reality sharpens your vision. You don't judge their illusions, you just see them. But what about your depths? You map others' psyches. You aren't cruel for seeing through people. You're merciful. You let them keep their fictions until they're ready to burn them. And when they finally ask, "How did you know?" you'll smile. Not with pride, but kinship. Because you've always known. The darkest shadows reveal the sharpest truths. Number 6. The Unbroken Code. Have you ever wondered why we follow rituals that long outlived their purpose? Why we nodded lies labeled tradition? You don't. You dissect them. While others kneel before societal altars, you're the heretic, prying plaques off statues, asking, who gains from this? Not to rebel, but to understand. Your mind is a scalpel, not a spoon. Most sip from the soup of norms without tasting its rot. You refuse to swallow. A 2020 Harvard study on nonconformist cognition found that such thinkers share a neural pattern, heightened activity in the anterior cingulate cortex, the brain's conflict detector. You physically can't ignore dissonance. When a boss says, "This is how we've always done it," your neurons fire warnings. When culture preaches hustle, you tally the corpses of burnout. Stoics revered logos, the rational principle governing the universe. You apply this to human constructs. Why do we work 40-hour weeks born from dead factory eras? Why do weddings bankrupt souls for a spectacle? You don't scorn these systems, you autopsy them. Marcus Aurelius, questioning Rome's excesses. You probe modern dogmas. Consider the fable of the cave. Others stare at shadows. You turn to the flame. At family gatherings, you ask why we toast to health while poisoning our plates. You challenge society that measure busyness over impact. Your questions aren't attacks, they're excavations. Beneath every because lies a corpse of reason. You dig until you hit bone. But societies crucify truth-tellers. Colleagues label you disruptive. Relatives call you cold. They mistake your clarity for cynicism. Yet history's leaps, Galileo's defiance, Curie's persistence, were powered by minds like yours. A 2023 MIT paper proved that teams with one provocateur boost innovation by 34%. You're not a nail, you're the hammer. Here's your burden. You see the prison others call home. They cling to their chains, mistaking rust for security. You could pick the locks, but freedom tariffs them, so you bite your tongue until you don't. When you speak, it's not to preach, but to offer keys. You aren't arrogant for questioning. Arrogance is blindly obeying. Your doubt is love, for truth, for progress. Every system you dissect, every norm you refuse is a brick removed from walls that cage human potential. They'll mock you. Let them. Stoicism teaches that external noise is irrelevant. Your duty isn't to be liked, but to see. And in seeing, you light torches for those still brave enough to open their eyes. Trait number 7, the fluid anchor. While others fumble with maps, you read the wind. New cities, jobs, crises. You adapt not by changing who you are, but by sharpening how you observe. Your stability isn't in routine, but in your ability to decode chaos. Scientists call this cognitive flexibility, the brain's power to shift thinking and adapt. A 2019 University of Pennsylvania study found that people with this trait process change like polyglots switching languages, fluidly, instinctively. You don't adjust, you flow. When life throws a curveball, you're already studying its spin. A sudden job transfer, you're dissecting office politics by lunch. A breakup, you're mapping emotional patterns by dawn. Stoics compare life to a river. Most either fight the current or drown. You become the river, reshaping your path around obstacles without losing direction. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Adapt yourself to the life you've been given, but you go further. You adapt the world to your purpose." Bending circumstances like a blacksmith tempers steel. Consider the chameleon. Fools think it hides. Truth, it communicates. Color shifts signal. Power, not fear. You mirror this. In boardrooms, you speak the unspoken hierarchies. At parties, you mirror laughter while tracking undercurrents of envy or ambition. Your core remains untouched, like a mountain anchored beneath shifting clouds. Society labels this aloofness. They're blind to your calculus. While others cling to sinking ships, you're already building rafts from the wreckage. A friend panics over a failed plan. You've pivoted to plan C before they finish cursing. This isn't coldness, it's clarity. Stoicism teaches that fear stems from attachment to outcomes. You grip nothing but your principles. Yet here's the rub, you unsettle people. Your calm in chaos mirrors their fragility. They'll accuse you of being unfeeling or ruthless. Let them. A 2022 Stanford study revealed that adaptable individuals are often misunderstood as detached, when in truth, they're deeply engaged, just not with superficial drama. You turn instability into art. While others build castles in sand, you dance with tides. Your strength isn't in standing still, but in moving with the storm. Heraclitus whispered, "Change is the only constant." You breathe this truth. So when they ask, "How do you always land on your feet?" Smile. You don't fall, you reorient. Gravity is a myth for those who know the ground is everywhere. Trait number 8. You craft realms others can't fathom. Have you ever stood in a crowded room and felt utterly alone? Not from loneliness, but because you alone see the possibility humming in the air. While others shuffle through life's blueprint, you draft new ones. Your mind doesn't just adapt or predict, it builds. Not monuments of stone, but invisible frameworks, systems, strategies, worlds, that others will stumble upon years later and call genius. Psychologists call this intrinsic construction, a trait linked to self-determination theory. Deci and Ryan in 1985. While most need external validation, you're fueled by an inner forge. A 2016 Cambridge study found such individuals often bypass traditional rewards, their satisfaction rooted in creation itself. You don't chase promotions, you engineer silent revolutions. A hobby becomes a business, a coffee shop rant becomes a manifesto. Your ideas aren't plans, they're living systems, evolving as you breathe. Stoics preach focus on the present, but you reshape it. Like Seneca, who wrote of bending fate through virtue, you mold chaos into order. A crumbling project, you don't fix it, you reimagine its bones. A fractured relationship, you don't patch wounds, you redesign boundaries. Your power isn't in control, but in vision. Consider the spider. It doesn't conquer land, it spins territory from nothing. You mirror this. While others fight for seats at tables, you build new ones and walk away. Your leadership leaves no fingerprints. Colleagues adopt your ideas without knowing their origin. Friends quote your philosophies as their own. You don't correct them. Like a river that doesn't boast of shaping cliffs, your influence is silent, inevitable. Society labels you a loner. Solitude is your workshop. Nietzsche wrote, "One must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star." Your isolation isn't empty, it's alchemical. In silence, you transmute observation into innovation, pain into blueprints. But here's the paradox. You create, not for legacy, but for liberation. Each system you design, each truth you unearth, is a thread cut from society's straitjacket. You're the friend who teaches others to fish instead of handing them a meal. The employee who automates drudgery so teams can think more. While the world clings to band-aids, you suture futures. You aren't building for applause. You're carving escape routes from a maze others deny exists. They'll call you detached as you draft these exits. Let them. When the walls finally close in, they'll find your handholds in the dark. Stoicism teaches that wisdom is knowing what to ignore. You've mastered this. While others chase trends, you plant forests they'll one day beg for shade under. Your architecture isn't for this era, it's for the next. And when the world catches up, you'll already be elsewhere, sketching horizons on fresh parchment. So when they ask, "Why do you bother?" Smile. You don't. You become bait, and in becoming, you birth worlds that outlive doubt. Number 9. The quiet catalyst. Have you ever changed someone's life without saying a word? Your presence is pedagogy. While others lecture, you embody. You teach not with lessons, but by existing unapologetically as proof of another way to live. A coworker adopts your calm under fire. A friend learns to set boundaries after watching you. A child mirrors your curiosity. Your influence isn't loud, it's seismic. Psychologists call this observational mastery. A 2017 UCLA study revealed that humans subconsciously mimic those they respect, adopting mannerisms, speech patterns, even thought processes. You've felt this. Strangers confess secrets to you. Colleagues mirror your focus. Why? Because your stillness radiates permission. You too can be unshaken. Stoics knew true teaching isn't verbal. Epictetus, born a slave, never wrote. His student Arian transcribed his lectures. Your classroom is wider. A raised eyebrow halts a toxic joke mid-sentence. Your refusal to rush teaches the value of pacing. By choosing solitude over empty crowds, you demonstrate self-respect as a verb. Consider the oak tree. It doesn't convince saplings to grow tall. Its mere existence defines what's possible. You're that oak. A teenager observes you reading philosophy on your lunch break. Years later, they credit you for their law degree. A neighbor notices you walking daily in the morning. They join you and quit antidepressants. You never mentored them. You simply were. Society glorifies charismatic leaders. You reject this. Charisma manipulates. Character transforms. A 2021 Harvard study proved that employees with stoic managers report 23% higher critical thinking skills. Why? Because calm is contagious. Your patience in chaos trains others to breathe before burning. Your questions, what's the root here? Rewire how they approach problems. But here's your secret. You teach by needing nothing. Most leaders crave followers. You cultivate equals. When a protege surpasses you, you celebrate. Their growth is your syllabus. Like Seneca, nurturing Nero before the betrayal. You plant seeds, knowing some will strangle you. You plant anyway. You aren't just a teacher, you're a mirror. People see in your silence what they lack, and either shatter or strive. Let the fragile break. The worthy will rebuild themselves stronger. So when they ask, "Why do I listen to you?" shrug, you didn't ask them to. Truth, lived relentlessly, pulls like gravity. Keep walking your path, the right souls will follow, and in their footsteps, you'll hear the only applause that matters. Lives changed, not by your words, but by your way. Number 10. The Unquenchable Flame. Have you ever tasted a question that burned your tongue but refused to spit it out? You carry this fire. While others build altars to their certainty, you kneel at the altar of not knowing. Your genius lies not in answers, but in the hunger that outlives them. A 15th century monk, scribbling forbidden questions in margins, shared your creed. Truth is a horizon, not a harbor. You don't dock, you sail. Stoics called this Zetas, the relentless pursuit. Not for trophies, but because the hunt itself. When Rome crumbled, Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The universe is change. Life is understanding." The more you learn, the less you know. A doctor studies cells only to find galaxies in each nucleus. A programmer codes AI, then wonders if consciousness is just recursion. You've felt this, the ground dissolving beneath expertise. Where others panic, you dance. A fisherman once told, "The sea doesn't give secrets to those who fear drowning." You dive. When colleagues cling to textbooks, you interview street vendors. Their haggling tactics teach you negotiation better than Harvard case studies. Your library includes bus rides, bar fights, and the way spiders abort webs when the wind rebels. Society calls this madness. A 2024 Oxford study proves them wrong. Brains that chase ambiguity develop divergent dendrites, neural branches that snatch insights from thin air. Your mind is a mangrove forest, roots drinking from salt and fresh alike. But here's your quiet. You terrify the certain. Teachers resent your interruptions. Lovers flee when you dissect their cliches. You don't mean to break their idols. You're just testing textures. Yet every cracked illusion births a new frontier. You aren't lost. You're the cartographer of never. Your map, blank parchment. Your compass, the itch behind your ribs when someone says, "That's impossible." When they beg, be content, smile. Contentment is grave soil, your wildfire. Let them bury their dead. You'll be miles ahead, skin smudged with soot and stars, kindling new questions from the embers of the answered. Your epitaph won't say he knew, it'll whisper, "He asked." And in that asking, you'll have taught eternity to tremble. Now, as the video ends, you stand at the crossroads of storm and stillness. This guide revealed the Sigma's truth: observation over obedience, craft over crowns, roots over relics. You've seen how silent minds outmaneuver noise, how curiosity defies graves, how true wealth lies in weathered hands, not wallets. But here's the fork. Will you kneel to society's circus, or build quiet empires in its shadows? Will you chase alpha roars, or nurture zeta sparks? Will your legacy be what you owned, or who you awakened? Reflect. Which of these mirrors claw at your edges? Where does your soul hum? In the crowd's chaos, or the architect's silence? Discuss. Burn the answers into your bones. Thanks for watching.